Hello and welcome to today's episode of The Art of Feeling Better. I sit with all the guitars today. Can't play them yet. I'd like to learn, but this is like a family full of musicians and I'm not one of them, although I do sing. I might do something on singing actually at some point. That could go with the music medicine, couldn't it? But I'm not going to sing to you today. I'm going to talk to you about the power of allowing yourself to be vulnerable and how sometimes you need to break down in order to break through. Now, as you will know, if you've been paying attention, you might not know, but shamanic practice is kind of my thing. And within my training, I mean, I've done years and years and years of training in different disciplines and with different teachers. But there was one teacher in particular that I was learning with who's based in Cusco in Peru. And his teachings are very much based in connecting nicely with Jungian, with Carl Jung, Jungian psychology. So a lot of the science with the esoteric, and I like blending the science and the spiritual. I really like because it just feels comfortable to me. And one of the things that I did when I was trying to find myself, really, when I'd had my own particular meltdown and was looking at finding my direction and passion and purpose and who was I and what does it all mean and why are we here? I went through a process, and it was quite complicated, really complex process of assessment and working out, things that make up my individual points of my personality, my strengths, my challenges, my experiences so far. And I came across terminology that really interested me, and that was called twice born. Twice born, and in the world of the shaman and in shamanic practice, twice born is relating to the person who has had a life-changing experience of some kind. So that could be a near-death experience. That could literally be twice born. It could be someone who's died and come back to life. That can happen. It can also be some kind of existential crisis. This can be a nervous breakdown. It can be a complete physical breakdown. It can be a complete burnout that has led to a complete change, a complete 180 in your life. It can be a career crisis, a family breakdown. It can be recovering from some kind of addiction. So think about this twice born concept in the way of living a life a certain way, something happening to you at some point. Maybe you go and have a mystical experience somewhere, maybe you travel and you meet somebody, and there's a point that you can put your finger on that changed, your life changed around. And that is the concept of twice born. And a lot of people who then embark on their spiritual journey and their awakening journey. It's all very woo, isn't it? But, think about the science, sort of connect it in with the logic. People who then feel like they have a second chance and they start along a new path, a new journey, quite often go into the service industry, the helping industry, and they will look at giving back and supporting people that they can relate to or who are still experiencing the things that they experience. Look at me, for example, recovering people pleaser, helping people through what I can relate to as my trauma drive. I've broadened that out a lot more, obviously, to different things that I haven't experienced, but have massive compassion, empathy, and training and understanding with. But my big passion is spotting and helping and supporting people who I can relate to. So women, mothers, people who have experienced burnout, people who have their own trauma drive from childhood as not being good enough, not being worthy, massive people pleasers, imposter syndrome, perfection, procrastination, all of those tendencies and traits that I've been working through, and you kind of tend to have your point where you sort of everything shifts, and then you're twice born. You're born again, not in a religious sense, but you shift your life. And you often go into a helping industry and start to look back at helping other people, which is what I've done. But I just wanted to talk today because we're going to look at, speaking to a lot of people who have some incredible stories. And people who have lived through such challenge and adversity. And I want to be really clear at this point that nobody's experiences are any more important or valid or traumatic or brilliant or amazing than anybody else's. Everybody's experiences, thoughts and feelings are completely valid and just as valid as one another. So when we talk about listening to inspirational stories, I believe that everybody has an inspirational story. Everybody has overcome things, everybody has dealt with things, everybody's experienced challenges, and everyone has had to dig really deep at some point and dig as deep as they can to get through the day. So it doesn't matter whether your physical experience, you believe it to be more or less important than somebody else's. In my opinion, everything's valid. And everything, we were talking about storytelling a while back, everything needs validating, and we need to bear witness and hear and see people and understand. And we might not have a frame of reference, we might not have experienced the same thing, but we can be compassionate and we can have empathy and we can try and understand and we can just bear witness and validate that experience. So yeah, it's interesting where a lot of the time we're just kind of the swans, aren't we, with the surface filters on me TikTok and me Snapchat. Everything's great. This is my dinner. This is me in the park being amazing. This is me doing a dance that everyone else has done, and I'm going to do it as well because I want to belong. Everything's great. Thanks. Yeah, here's my highlights. Everything feels great. And the absolute shattering loneliness of actually really looking inside and realising that I feel terrible. I don't know what is wrong. There is something wrong with me. Everybody else seems to be fine. Why am I in pain? Why am I overwhelmed? Why am I struggling? It's exhausting, It's exhausting to live like that and to have to go through every day putting on that, parading out with this series of masks that we go through when whoever we're interacting with. What mask do I need today? It's totally exhausting, and it shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't need to do that. And I'm still on that, that process of starting to move away from the masks, and it's been a 10-year process really for me since I started my shamanic path, and I have no doubt that it always will be, but I feel so much better. I can tell you that now for removing the masks that I've removed so far. It's great, and I just want to bin them all, if I'm honest with you. Fine, there's another one gone, because they shouldn't be necessary. It's something that we've been sort of built in from years of societal conditioning. We're undoing some of that damage now. So sometimes we need to break down before we break through. And I have first-hand experience with this. I've shared this story before and I will share it again. That when you are, and some of you listening might just be kind of feeling some feels and relating a little bit. And some of you might be feeling angry and like, no, I don't want to think about that. You don't get it. You don't understand. Trust me, I do, because I was saying exactly the same thing. You can't let go of control. You can't be vulnerable. It's not safe. And if you followed me or you're part of Mojo School and you've done some stuff with me before, we understand the neuroscience behind that. So we understand the nervous system and how it works and how we don't feel safe in our bodies. Our thoughts are the most powerful things we have. And if we have some programming, some faulty wiring in there that tells us that we are not safe unless we keep this momentum of crap that we've built, we just have to spin all those plates. You don't understand, if I drop one single plate, none of us are safe. Does that sound familiar? Then you're just careening towards the edge. That's what's happening, folks. That's what's happening. Truth bombs. Because it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable, it's not manageable, and burnout is a real thing, and it's not good. And if you do experience that and you have a complete breakdown and you burn out, then if you're anything like me, I just couldn't cover the mic and make a nightmare for myself in the edit. If you're anything like me, you may go through a series of cycles where you burn out, or you make yourself ill. And you're doing it, but you can't help it because it's too important and there's no choices. Right? Maybe that little error there, that little flaw, that little faulty programming that says you have no choice. You always have a choice. Always. Got no choice. I have to do it. Right? So you have that. Then you get sick. Then you have a period of time where you have no choice but to rest because your body's done and it taps out, and your mind done. And then people rally round. People rally round, and you are looked after. You are taken care of. For once in your life, people give a shit. People will do things because you are their resource. You're the person that does everything. And you're down. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen now? The person that fixes everything's gone down. So people rally round, and you get some help. You get some support. You're finally chosen. And then you build yourself back up again. And then, oh, you're drawn into the orbit of, okay, I'm all right now. I've rested a little tiny bit. I put my oxygen mask on for a sec. I've put like £3 worth of fuel in the tank. Off again. Off I go. Zoom. And everyone's like, oh, thank God, that was a close call. Oh, yeah. That person's back, fixing everything, doing everything, being the strong one. There's actually a book called The Curse of the Strong. You want to read it. Explains this beautifully. So we go, I'm just going to play you a song accidentally. So we get back into that pattern. And sometimes, here's a bit of shadow work for you. Let's see if this relates or hits with anybody. Sometimes you subconsciously do it so that you can burn out again, so that you can be chosen again, so that you can be cared for again. That's an unmet need from your past somewhere around the line. It's so seductive to know that if you behave in a certain way, that's how you get your needs met. If I only work a bit hard, if I can only push myself to the brink of being hospitalised, then I'll get my needs met finally. Doesn't sound so healthy, does it? And I can tell you from first-hand experience, it's not. It's not great. And once you've peeled back those layers and you kind of start to understand the process, like a few pennies will drop, and it's still not easy. Even when you understand what's going on, it's still physically in your body. It's not easy to break out the cycles because every part of you tells you that there's danger and it's not safe, and you must work harder, you must do more, you must look after everybody because none of us are safe. But once you start to do the inner work and you start to do the shadow work, it does start to change and things start to be a little bit different, and you understand and you're grateful for the breakdown and you're grateful for how powerful the lesson it is. But unfortunately, most of us don't learn the lessons. We just get frustrated. And I can remember saying to doctors, I was like blue lighted into hospital. Yeah, it was that bad, right? And I had kids, little kids. It must have been awful for them. And I can remember being so annoyed with myself for getting sick. Like, no, I have not got, you don't understand. I have not got time for this. Give me a pill quickly. Give me something. Fix me up, send me out, I've got shit to do. Haven't got time to be ill. And I can remember doctors being like, I think we found the problem. No, I know better, you don't understand. You don't know what it's like to be me, you don't understand. We're not safe. So, yeah, it takes a while. So I'm just getting pins and needles here, so I'm just going to shift around a little bit. So it takes a little while to reboot and for your brain to catch up and get with the program of what's actually happening. And eventually I started to understand that my behaviours, my thoughts, all the stuff that I've been repressing, ignoring, distracting myself from, all the stuff from way back, nothing was going to change, and I was going to keep on going in that loop. Just that behaviour loop was going to keep happening because sooner or later I'll have a bit of respite and I'll be able to go to bed for a little bit and people will be nice to me and somebody might help me. But then that's because they need their needs met and they need to get me back on my feet really quickly so I can go back into that space again. And that's an expectation. Of course it wasn't, but in my head that's an expectation that fix yourself quick, get back there. So I'd occasionally get my needs met a little bit and back in the loop I go. And I didn't want to be in the loop anymore. I was bored of it. So that's when I started to do the deeper work and unpeel the layers like an onion. Go back and find creative methods, and creativity always works for me. Lots of different kind of ways of unpicking that and processing it. To be able to suss out what was going on and why I was thinking that way and why I was feeling that way. And then, and things change. Things really change. And then what happens is, I know this is going to sound like a swear word and you're going to not even understand the concept, a lot of you out there, but you start to choose yourself. You start to put boundaries in place. You start to choose yourself and decide what you need and when you need it. And you decide to fill up your tank, fill up your cup. You put self-care practice into place. You plan your days a bit better. You put you first. And the irony is when you put you first, you have extra energy and you are healthy and you are well and you are authentic and you can show up and you can be things for other people and you can do things and you can be of service and you can help, but it's not coming from a place of trauma. It's not coming from a place of self-sacrifice and martyrdom and you making yourself sick to try and make other people okay. That's not cool, that's not okay, and you deserve way more than that. So a little bit of food for thought there this week around, from breakdowns to breakthroughs, this episode is called, and sometimes you have to get to that point where you hit your rock bottom and you don't know where else to go and you don't know what else to do. And if it's a recurring pattern, like mine, I would suggest you just take a look at that. Take a look at why it's a recurring pattern and It's called secondary gain. What is the secondary gain of keeping yourself in that place? It might feel awful, you might hate it, but really deep down your subconscious, it might be a choice to keep going back in that loop. What is it? And then the good question to ask yourself is, if there could be something positive out of this situation, what would it be? If there was one good thing about whatever it is you're experiencing, what would it be? And that will usually give you a clue. Well, I get to rest. I get to actually sleep. Somebody else will do the cooking or the washing, or, people will talk to me about stuff. Whatever it is, there'll be something there. And then have a little think, is that the secondary gain? Because whatever it is, you can access that without the other crap. That's what you need to work towards. What is it that I need? It's an unmet emotional need. So actually, what I'm craving is this. And I keep breaking down. I keep having these loops and these breakdowns because I need this and it's missing. So how do I get that? How do I access that without having to do all that? And quite often it's simply a case of breaking through and finally understanding that you are enough. You are worthy. You deserve love, you deserve happiness, you deserve peace, you deserve good health, you deserve an abundance of everything, you deserve to be safe. So that faulty programming from whatever it is you've been through, whatever you experienced, whatever you've been told, whatever you've perceived from other people's words or actions or behaviours in your past. Time to swipe those apps up, get rid of that faulty programming, get rid of the viruses, things that are draining your battery and your energy and corrupting your system. It's time to get into the operating system, pull up the weeds so that you've got some space to plant some new seeds and move in a different direction. So that is it from me today. That's my musings for today on how sometimes our breakdowns can really, if we use them properly and extract the learning, can really lead to the ultimate breakthroughs. And I will be back next week with a super special guest. As always, take a look at the Spotify playlist. It's building beautifully now, so have a look for The Art of Feeling Better on Spotify, and there's some real good feel-good tunes on there. And if you haven't seen the other episodes, maybe have a look back. You can get to my Batman origin story, my story so far, right way back at the beginning. And every episode since then, we have had some tips from all of my guests on how to feel better, so you can build your toolkit from there. And if you haven't already had a look, get on mymojoschool.com, have a look at my curriculum and some of my offerings. I've got some really cool courses and resources that will help you to do this work. There's a cool coaching program that's going to help deal with just exactly what we're talking about today. It's called Weeds and Seeds. I'd love to see you on there. It really will help massively. And I also have a free Basecamp, Mojo School Basecamp course, which will just help you orient a little bit and just help you get to assess some of the stuff that maybe is missing for you and set a couple of goals. So jump on that, it's free. So have a lovely rest of the day, whatever it is that you're doing, and the rest of the week, and make sure you fill your cup up and start to think a little bit differently about yourself and your needs. And I will see you again next week. Bye for now.